Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.wordpress.com. Thank you very much for joining me again today for another card making tutorial. Hope everyone's well. I'm going to do something fun and different today. Got this card. Do you like it? So we've gone all rainbowy, and we've gone all shiny, and I'm going to show you how I made this. So we'll do a variation on the colours, as we often do. So this is actually using one of our new masks from the catalogue. So we've got a few masks now. So these are, so this is the one that I'm using. These all come in one pack. You get 4 6x6 masks. So this is this nice geometric style that we're doing. We've got this one that sort of looks like fish scales, which is very, very cool. Looks good that way or this way. Yeah, so very, very nice set. Then we've got this one, which has sort of the 4 different designs in each corner, so you could sort of mask off one to use individually. And then we've got this one, which I think really sets off one of the bundles that we've got called In Symmetry. So I think that looks really, really cool as well. So nice little sort of floral. So those are all the new ones, and then we've got these older ones as well. So there's this one that sort of looks like a leaf. Got this sort of damask look. Got some nice retro dots, and we've got these trees, if you like. Although I suppose if you put them the other way around and make them funky, they could look like something else. So there's 2 packs, both available in the annual catalogue, but we're working with this lovely geometric design today. So 6x6, I've cut a piece of paper. This is just basic white cardstock, and I'm going to bring in some scrap to go underneath it so that we can go off the edges as well. I'm going to use some washi tape or some frog tape. Should I use some frog tape? I'll use frog tape today. If I can find it. I'll put it back in, I might actually put it back in the tub. Yes, I have. That was daft of me. Probably should have got that out ready, because the container is actually quite stiff. This is like delicate surface decorator's tape. You can get in you know, like DIY store, but it's designed to be really nice and low tack. But even still, I still take off some of it, but this is the one for delicate surfaces, so hopefully it shouldn't damage our cardstock. But nonetheless, what we're going to do is, if I can get my fingers and thumbs to work, just going to line that up over that piece of card. You can make it a bit bigger if you want. I was just being a bit kind of, I didn't need it to be excessively big. So we're going to tack that down on there, and it kind of makes like a hinge, which might be useful for later. You know, if you want to check it, you've inked all the bits and pieces. Okay, so as we're cutting it down, I'm not worried if there's a few little pieces that aren't quite straight or whatever. It's just got a bit of fluff that's ended up underneath there that I can't pick up. So that's our stencil in position. So we're going to add our ink, and I found actually that the best way that we're going to achieve that is by using the blending brushes. So I'm just going to grab all my blending brushes down so that I can use the appropriate brush. And of course I haven't got any desk space again. So the colours I've used on this one were all from the Bright collection. So I used Poppy Parade, Daffodil Delight, which is kind of merged to make the orange, Granny Apple Green, Pacific Point, which again is sort of blended in with these colours to make almost like a Bermuda Bay colour really. And then I've got Gorgeous Grape at the bottom there. Alright, okay. So I figured we could work through the Subtles collection for this one. just to sort of change it up a bit. So we'll go through, and it's Calypso Coral. That's the sort of red colour, for want of a better word. Sort of bit of an orangey red, but it'll do. Just moving that to one side. There's my ink pad, and I'm going to need some scrap paper just to make sure my ink is nice and even on there. So I'm just going to bring in a piece of scrap there. Rub your brush over the ink pad and just sort of try it out on your scrap paper. Just make sure it's of the intensity that you want. I'm going for something, you know, I want it to cover, do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to be too fussy about it. I'm just going to grab a cloth to hold that down. And we're just going to go over in circles over that mask, like so. And I'm not paying any attention to the individual shapes in there. I'm just getting the colour down, okay? Nothing super complicated about that. Just going for it. So that was Calypso Coral. So it's quite an orangey kind of red. The subtle yellow is So Saffron. So yellow brush. So I do have brushes just for each sort of colour family, if you like. So this is my yellow one, so I've used this for everything from Bumblebee to So Saffron. Okay, just want to be mindful that the ink will not dry very quickly on top of the mask because it is plastic. So you will pick up some ink, but because we're using the brush, it's going to only be a light covering it anyway. And where the two meet, there, we're going to get this lovely sort of orangey colour as well. So that looks quite orange to me, to be fair, which is absolutely gorgeous. And that's how the rainbow works, isn't it? All the different wavelengths of light coming together to create our rainbow. Okay, I'll start twizzling this one round now. Right, subtle green. Now I think Pear Pizzazz is actually in the subtles, if I remember rightly. Just glancing over to my chart there. There is soft sea foam, but I think it's going to be really too light for what we're trying to achieve. So we'll go with Pear Pizzazz. I actually really like Pear Pizzazz. It's one of my favourite colours in terms of green. So orange, yellows, greens are not generally the colours I go for. But so the greens wise, Pear Pizzazz I really like. I really like Just Jade. I'm starting to like Mint Macaron. I did not like Mint Macaron when it was it used to be an in colour, and then they brought it back for the main, and I didn't like it, but that's starting to grow on me now. And then the new Soft Succulent, I really like that too. Really like that. So that's green. Then we've got Army Blue. Could use Pool Party. If you wanted something a little bit more green, switch out my brush for a blue brush. So these subtle colours don't probably need that much in terms of ink taking off. Just want to go for it, get it down. So just overlap the colour before it. So this is a bit more of a long-winded project, but I think the outcome is probably worth it. I was super pleased with the bright one. thought it turned out really, really, really well. And then finally, could go pink, or we could just stick with purple because I like purple. So it's Highland Heather that we're using for our purple colour. Ooh, almost had a calamity with me, my thing there. So Highland Heather is definitely in need of re-inking, so I know that's not going to go on desperately dark, so we'll just go with that one as well. So I mean, how many different colour combos could we use on this really? I mean, this technique you can use with anything, absolutely anything. You could really go monochromatic, almost you could be quite selective and almost create a faux retiform kind of look where you're just highlighting parts of the shape. That would be really cool as well. So the world is your lobster when it comes to all of that. So this is where that hinge is going to come in useful, because we can just lift that up and just see whether we like what we got. I like what we got. Personally, I think that looks fan-dabby-dozy. I'm going to grab a little spritz bottle now. There are spritzers available in the catalogue. I do have one there, but it ran out of water and I haven't filled it up, so we'll resort to this one. But you could flick water on it, you could like tap a paintbrush or something or whatever. But basically what I'm doing is just putting on these little droplets of water, okay, and because we've got water-based ink, it will just lift it off and just give you these really fun sort of splatter marks, which I think is really, really cool. Just been that tape at the top there repels the ink, so if you want to make sure that that's not going to come off, take that opportunity now. So hopefully you can see that we've got some nice sort of speckles that have been created with the water, which just gives it another level of effect. You don't want to go too overboard. This is just plain basic white cardstock, and it's not really designed for use with water, but a little bit will be fine. So now you're going to think I'm going crazy, because we're going to add our shine by doing some clear heat embossing over the top. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some Versamark ink. Now I would recommend, if you've got a dirty ink pad like this one, see how dirty that is, I would recommend using that one rather than one of your nice pristine pads. This is an old one that I had from before I was in Stampin' Up, but it is exactly the same style, but Stampin' Up do these, so I'm just using my old one just because I don't want to ruin my other one. Okay, because like I said, the ink that might be on the top may transfer onto your ink pad. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to press all this ink through the stencil, okay, and onto the background. Okay, so the idea being that we will be applying embossing powder just to the coloured triangles and not to the rest of the card. I think that makes sense. Just in the same way that we've done that. I think you probably could use a dauber and sponge it on, but it might take a while, and you may risk some of it drying a little bit in between applications. So this is by far the easiest way to get this done. So we'll just go over this, work our way down. And so this is why I want the tape in place. You don't, because it's a sticky ink, you're going to find it lifts a bit. So just go easy, press it through. If you use look under your light, to make sure you've caught every bit. So there was a little bit there that I felt like didn't have much ink on it. Just go over it a couple of times. It isn't necessarily going to be perfect, but I think it kind of adds to the effect. It's just, especially with the sort of those splattery bits as well. Okay, so when you're satisfied you've covered it all, so I'm really sort of trying to press down through the stencil, okay, just give it a bit of pressure. So when you think you're satisfied that you've got the whole thing coated, you want to then apply your powder. So we need to lift up the stencil, and we can take that away now. Just peel that away, she says. Okay, so that tape should just come off. You want to get your stencil cleaned. Don't want to leave that sticky ink on there and let it dry. I've just got a tidy tray here because just to catch the powder, and I've got some clear embossing powder into a larger tub here. Okay, you can do it with the little ones. It's just convenience really that I've transferred it into this thing, just to pour that over the top. You will find it will stick to any residual adhesive from that tape. It's no bother, just be mindful that that will happen. Okay, because it's a large piece, just making sure we've caught it all. And just tap away the excess. So we've now got all that powder all over the piece there, so we can just funnel this away quickly, just so that I don't end up flinging it across the room or something. Highly possible, of course. And then we want to heat emboss that. Okay, so you'll see I'm going to do it under the camera, but I'm going to mute it so that you're not deafened by the heat gun, because it is really loud over the microphone. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that onto the highest setting. You'll see me heating the back and then going to the front, and hopefully there'll be the right angle to catch it turning and going glossy. But I can't tell from here whether you'll be able to see that or not. So that's what we're going to do, and I'll see you back in a little bit. I'll probably fast forward it a bit as well while it's on mute. Alright, right, off I go. Okay, so that's all super duper and shiny. Look at that. I can just make sure there's no residual powder on there. The where the little spots of water kind of bubble up the card, I did find that you have to just make sure that the heat's actually caught that powder. It seems to sort of resist it a little bit, so you just want to sort of make sure all the bits are done on the back of there. So that's it. That's our shiny background. We could go over the top of this and do all sorts of funky stuff, but we'll stick with this for today. So we just want to cut this down now. So we'll just bring in the trimmer. So the trimmer will get this done for you. Just going to take off that top edge there. Take off this edge. So that sort of squares everything off. We know that we want to have the height needs to be 5 3/4 ideally, but let's check it down a bit because we're going to layer it. We could layer it. So I'm going to take that down to 5 1/2. You can't actually see that, can you? So extra quarter, so, and 3 3/4 is what we want on this one. So it's 1/4 of an inch smaller than a normal card layer, if you like. So that's going to be our card front. We'll mat and layer that, no problem. Just some little fibres on the edge where so if you're cutting through the embossing, you will find that there's like just these little sort of rough bits. But look at that, that's a nice strip to put on something else. I've got my leftover strip from something from the other project as well, so I'm just going to so you could use that as an accent piece on something else quite easily rather than letting it go to waste. There we are. So I need to cut a black layer for this, I think, and then we'll put it onto a white card base. So we'll just change it up a little bit. Yeah, so there's a black layer. I do have some pre-cut layers, you see, so I just thought, oh, do I have one? Yeah, I do. That's fine. So if we can get that stuck down. So you see how bendy and warped that is. So we're going to need to use loads of tape, or you could use wet glue if you prefer as well. So I'm just going to give it a bit of persuasion as well, just to sort of see if I can get that a bit flatter. There we go, that's a bit better. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to bring in my Seal Plus actually, just to be sure. So that's got the dark blue cartridge on the inside. Okay. So this is even stickier than the regular seal. So you just roll it down nice and gently, because it is really, really sticky. Just like that. Here we are. Put my little lid back on. So yeah, I only bring him out on special occasions. So will this be one of them? So if you want an extra sticky tape runner, that's the one you need. That's Stampin' Seal Plus. It's akin to the fast fuse that we used to have, but better. It's not gone on super straight, but you'll get the idea. Okay, and then that can just go onto a white card base, which I also have to hand. So I'm just going to go back to my regular. I don't need anything super strong for this, but I'm going to put on a couple of extra layers just to be sure. See, I would say that the seal, the regular seal, is probably as strong as Fast Fuse was, and then the Seal Plus is even stronger than that. So it's really good stuff. Really good stuff. It's not going to go anywhere. And then give that a good sharp crease. You may want to do that on the back as well. So there we are. Really nice, simple, impactful card front. All we need to do now is add a sentiment, which we're just going to do very simply with Memento black ink, which was hiding under another stamp that we're going to use on another day. And I thought I'd bring in Happy Thoughts. This is a retiring set, but it's really, really cool. Really, really like it. So we're doing the Happy Birthday. Okay, and grab a block for that. That's a cling mount stamp set. Really versatile set that is, so it's a bit of a shame that that's going. Just pull out a scrap from my scrap bin. And we'll go that way. It doesn't matter if it's not straight, because I am going to die cut this, but if you don't have a die cut machine, then never fear, just use your trimmer to cut that out. And I'm going to use a stitched rectangle, which I've obviously put somewhere because the smallest one isn't in there. I've obviously put it to one side to use, and I don't know where I've left it. What have I done with that? Bear with. Found it. There we are. It's just fallen off the little place I've got them. I'm thinking about getting one of those mechanics have got use these little magnetised bowls to chuck all their little pieces in so that they don't go everywhere. That might not be a bad idea. So we're just quickly running that through, and this is the smallest rectangle in the stitched rectangles set. It fits this particular sentiment beautifully. Okay, and just because we can, we're going to stick some dimensionals on that. The embossing powder is a plastic surface, so you probably want to put a bit of your multi-purpose glue on the back of that as well, just to make sure that that bonds more permanently. Okay, and then here's your choice on where you want to put that. So if there's any bits that went a bit wrong or anything like that, that's the place to put them. Okay, super simple sentiment because we don't need anything else. I want the background to do all the talking. Okay, so this used the bright palette, this used the subtles palette. So if you're looking to collect the Stampin' Up colours in their families, there you go, they work together really well. Brights and subtles there. Okay, and we could have mixed and matched and all sorts of things. Okay, hope you've really enjoyed that. Doesn't that embossing just look phenomenal with those shapes? I just think it's really cool. Okay, lovely. Thanks ever so much for joining me again today for a bit of a longer video than normal, but I hope it was worth it. Stay safe out there, everybody, won't you? Okay, take care. Bye.